On January 27, 1864, a minor clash between the cavalries of the North and the South took place in Sevier County, Tennessee. This American Civil War battle was not very large. However, both sides would suffer a considerable amount of casualties and would impact the lives of those involved. This battle would take place just 10 days after the humiliating defeat that Generals Sturgis and Parke would have at the Battle of Dandridge on January 17, 1864. Will Sturgis recover the morale of his troops in this battle, or will he be defeated once again? Come along with us as we walk through the Battle of Fair Garden, Tennessee. All aboard the Kentucky-Tennessee Living Time Machine. Please fasten your seatbelts and keep your arms and legs inside of the vehicle at all times. Please do not attempt to remove the safety bar while the ride is in motion. But to get going, we need your help. We still need to fire up that time machine to transport us. Please help us by clicking on the like, subscribe, and bell notification buttons down below. Not only does this fire up the time machine, but it convinces the YouTube algorithm that we need a bigger time machine to reach more people who love history as much as you do. Now, back to our story. After the Battle of Dandridge. Even though the Union had retreated from the Battle of Dandridge from two fronts, Brigadier General Samuel D. Sturgis was determined that the Confederate Army would be vacated from the area. The Union Cavalry Division of the Army of the Ohio was commanded by Brigadier General Samuel D. Sturgis. Under his command were Colonel Archibald Campbell and Colonel Edward M. McCook. Once again, Sturgis moved his Union cavalry back to the south side of the French Broad River. His men were able to cause disorder and spoil the Confederate foraging parties and was able to capture several loaded supply wagons. Wanting to end the Union harassment of his men, on January 25, 1864, Lieutenant General James Longstreet gave orders to halt the Union operations and to remove the Union forces from the area south of the French Broad River, extending to Dandridge and Little Pigeon River. This was an 8-mile area. Longstreet would give the command of the Cavalry Division to Major General William T. Martin to represent the Confederate Department of the East Tennessee. On January 26, 1864, Sturgis arranged his men in positions that they were able to watch the fords in the area. 4 miles from Sevierville, 2 Confederate cavalry brigades and artillery came up from Fair Garden that afternoon to advance upon Sturgis' position, but were stopped from moving closer to the Union forces. The Union Cavalry Brigade was attacked by other Confederate forces at Fowler's on Flat Creek and was driven back 2 miles, but the fighting stopped at dark. The battle. Sturgis had Union scouts to go out and see where the Confederate forces were gathering. They came back with the news that they had gathered in force along the Fair Garden Road. Upon hearing this news, Sturgis ordered an attack. On the morning of January 27, 1864, there was a heavy fog in the air. Union forces under the commands of Colonel Edward M. McCook, and some sources also list Colonel Archibald Campbell, 1st Cavalry Division, attacked Major General Martin's men from several positions and was able to drive them back. Around 4 p.m., Colonel McCook, seeing that this was shaking the morale of the Confederate men, and seizing the opportunity, McCook ordered his men to use their sabers to attack the Confederate line. This broke the line and caused the Confederates to flee in chaos. However, there was not enough daylight left to follow in pursuit and complete the victory. On January 28, 1864, Sturgis set out in pursuit of the fleeing Confederate cavalry and was able to capture and kill more of the fleeing and disorganized Confederates. However, as the Union forces drew near to the French Broad River, close to Dandridge, they encountered Longstreet's 3 infantry brigades crossing the river toward them. Able to see that not only Longstreet had more men and more guns, and the Union forces were tired from fighting and chasing down Confederates, and in addition, Sturgis was running low on supplies, ammunition, and weapons, Sturgis made the decision to evacuate his men from the area before Longstreet could attack. Attack on Armstrong. Scouts had informed Sturgis that there was another Confederate encampment located 3 or 4 miles from their position along the river. However, The scouts had failed to inform Sturgis that the Confederate Brigadier General Frank C. Armstrong's men had been reinforced with 3 infantry regiments and had fortified his position. Sturgis did attempt to attack Armstrong's troops. This was a huge blunder, as Sturgis would lose many men in the failed attack. Sturgis' fighting cavalrymen were able to hold off Armstrong's men throughout the skirmish. The two sides would continue to battle until darkness fell, and Sturgis took the opportunity to withdraw from the area. Conclusion. Even though the Union forces under Brigadier General Samuel D. Sturgis had initially won the small battle, Sturgis would ultimately lose the foraging grounds to overwhelming Confederate forces when he was forced to retreat from the area. Both sides would sustain a huge loss of men to casualties, with the Union cavalry losing 100 men and the Confederacy losing 165 men. There are some sources listed below that state that the actual losses were the Union cavalry had lost 65 men and the Confederate cavalry had lost 100 men. Thank you. We at Kentucky Tennessee Living would like to thank you for watching our video series on the Appalachian Civil War battles. Don't forget to hit that like button, as the more likes we receive, the more likely YouTube is to suggest our videos to other viewers. Also, to receive notice when we upload a new video, be sure to subscribe and click the bell notification. We thank you for continuing to support Kentucky Tennessee Living as we are discovering the mysteries in Appalachian history.